The trailer from Mortal Kombat 2, set to be released in 2026, introduced the return of several characters who died in the first movie. Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, and Kano are clear examples of this. However, promotional materials have already revealed that other dead characters are also coming back to life, and in this video, I'm going to explain how each one of them returns, based on what we know from the game's lore. Because yes, in Mortal Kombat, there are multiple ways for the dead to come back to life, and in this video, I'll break down all of those methods and show how they are likely to be incorporated into this new film. Kung Lao will be a Revenant. Well, we already know that Quan Chi is confirmed for Mortal Kombat 2. He is the sorcerer of the Netherrealm, a powerful necromancer, and one of the franchise's most important villains. In fact, his first official image was recently revealed, and it looks great, especially because it stays very faithful to his appearance in the games. In the games, Quan Chi is directly responsible for the Revenants. The term Revenant refers to warriors who have died and were brought back to life through Quan Chi's necromancy, using his dark Netherrealm magic. These individuals do not return as they once were. Their souls go through a deep corruption process, losing part of their free will and becoming dark servants bound to the Netherrealm. And based on the official Mortal Kombat 2 poster, we can see that Kung Lao will be a Revenant because his visual design is exactly what we expect from a corrupted warrior. In the Mortal Kombat games, Kung Lao has always been portrayed as one of the most skilled warriors of Earthrealm. However, when we look closely at his appearances throughout the franchise, it becomes very clear that Kung Lao has been manipulated by evil forces at certain points. In the second timeline, for example, after his death, he returns as one of the corrupted warriors of the Netherrealm, serving under Quan Chi's command. In this version, he loses part of his humanity and becomes a kind of dark servant, driven by necromantic magic. He goes from being a protector to a direct threat to Earthrealm itself. This transformation is important because it creates a powerful contrast between the honorable monk we know and a twisted version of him controlled by malevolent forces. And this is exactly the kind of narrative foundation that Mortal Kombat 2 2026 can use. In the first film, Kung Lao was presented as the most impressive fighter in the group, skilled, disciplined, and extremely powerful. His unexpected death was one of the shocking moments in the movie. The scene is unforgettable. Shang Tsung grabs him by the neck and brutally absorbs his soul, ripping it from his body. The trailer for the second film shows Kung Lao facing Liu Kang in a setting that resembles the iconic portal from the games. On top of that, as mentioned earlier, his individual poster features a darker look, with a hardened expression and an appearance similar to the corrupted warriors from older timelines. All of these elements suggest that the film may be adapting the phase in which Kung Lao returns as a distorted version of himself. It's extremely likely that in the movie, Quan Chi will use necromantic magic to bring Kung Lao back, manipulating his mind and turning him into an emotional obstacle for Liu Kang. This would create one of the most powerful scenes in the film, a dramatic confrontation between former friends, now separated by the corruption of the Netherrealm. Beyond making perfect sense for the story, this approach fully respects the original game lore and preserves the emotional impact of Kung Lao's path in the first movie, Sindel's multiple resurrections in the games, and how this could appear in Mortal Kombat 2 2026. Sindel is one of the most iconic characters in the Mortal Kombat franchise. Her importance in the game's storyline has always been tied to the fate of entire realms, and her many resurrections highlight just how powerful her presence is within the lore. To understand how she might return in the second film, it's essential to revisit her origins in the first two game timelines, where her narrative was at its most consistent. In the original timeline, Sindel was the Queen of Edenia, the wife of King Jared and the mother of Katana. They lived in peace until the realm was invaded by the forces of Outworld. Shao Kahn murdered Jared, conquered Edenia, and forced Sindel to marry him in order to solidify the merger of the realms. Unable to accept this fate, Sindel sacrificed herself using an ancient and mysterious form of magic. This sacrifice created a spiritual barrier that prevented Shao Kahn from invading other realms, especially Earthrealm, his true objective. For a long time, this barrier was the only thing stopping stopping Outworld from conquering Earth, making the Mortal Kombat tournament the only viable path to invasion. That changes in Mortal Kombat 3. During this period, Shang Tsung performs a dark ritual and resurrects Sindel directly in Earthrealm. Her return nullifies the barrier created by her sacrifice and opens the door for Shao Kahn's full-scale invasion. In addition to this, the resurrected Sindel receives an absurdly amplified level of power, and her mind is manipulated into believing that she had always been the loyal wife of Outworld's emperor. Her return is one of the defining narrative elements of MK3. In the second timeline, established in MK9 2011, the path is similar, but with important differences. This time, Quan Chi takes the central role in Sindel's resurrection. However, she does not return as a Revenant at this point. This distinction is crucial. Quan Chi does not only create Revenants, he also masters alternative forms of necromancy. In MK9, he approaches Sindel's dead body and restores her life directly, without using the full soul corruption process of the Netherrealm. As a result, this resurrected Sindel has normal skin, lacking the gray, decayed appearance typical of Revenants. After her return, she becomes even more powerful when Shao Kahn absorbs Shang Tsung's soul. This empowers Sindel to such an extreme degree that it leads to the infamous massacre in which she kills several Earthrealm warriors in a single sequence. Later in MK9, she is killed once again, this time by Nightwolf, and only then is her spirit sent to the Netherrealm. In MKX, she returns as a true Revenant, fully displaying the traits of a corrupted undead warrior controlled by the forces of Quan Chi and Shinnok. In MK11 Aftermath, we see yet another method of resurrection. Sindel's corrupted body is restored to its normal state through a ritual performed in the Soul Chamber, combined with Shang Tsung's magic. This process returns her natural appearance and original essence, once again showing that the series presents multiple distinct ways of bringing her back. When we look at all of this together, it becomes clear that Sindel is one of the characters with the widest range of resurrections in the franchise. She sacrificed herself and returned through magic. She was resurrected by Shang Tsung. She was directly restored by Quan Chi. She became a Revenant, and she was later purified. This narrative flexibility should serve as the foundation for her appearance in Mortal Kombat 2 2026. The official poster shows Sindel with pale skin, dark markings on her face, and an overall somber tone, a look that strongly resembles the Revenants from the second timeline. This suggests that even though she has many ways of returning in the games, the film will likely follow the most recognizable and popular route, the Revenant version, created through necromancy by Shang Tsung or possibly by Quan Chi. All signs point to a more limited role in terms of narrative importance, with Sindel functioning as one of Shao Kahn's warriors and reinforcing the threat of the Netherrealm within the film. Even so, her return directly connects to the long tradition of resurrections that has always defined her character in the games. Sub-Zero and the complete corruption of his soul. Among all the returning characters, the most impactful case is Bi-Han, the original Sub-Zero. In the games, he is the clearest example of how Mortal Kombat turns death into narrative evolution. To understand how the film might adapt this, it's important to look at the three main versions of his story in the games: the original timeline, the 2011 reboot, and more recently, the new era introduced in Mortal Kombat 1. In the original timeline, Bi-Han is killed by Scorpion during the first tournament shown in Mortal Kombat. At that point, he still carries the title of Sub-Zero. After his death, his soul is sent to the Netherrealm. Bi-Han was already cruel, cold, and violent. He was never a hero. The Netherrealm did not turn him evil, it simply amplified what was already inside him. This is a crucial point in understanding the creation of Noob Saibot. He is not a Revenant. He represents a far more advanced stage of corruption, being completely transformed into something even more powerful. When he's reborn in the Netherrealm, Bi-Han abandons his identity as Sub-Zero and adopts a new form. He gains mastery over shadows and becomes an even more ruthless entity, Noob Saibot. This trajectory continues in a very similar way in the Mortal Kombat reboot from 2011, which recreates many events from the original timeline. Once again, Bi-Han is killed by Scorpion and resurrected by Quan Chi as Noob Saibot. The logic remains the same: death to Netherrealm, to corruption, to rebirth. However, in the new era, introduced in Mortal Kombat 1 and expanded in Reign of Chaos, the path is very different. Here, Bi-Han does not die. Instead, he is captured by Havoc, the Titan of Chaos. Havoc warps his soul, reshapes his body, and nearly erases any remaining trace of humanity. The result is a version of Noob Saibot that does not rely on death or resurrection. He is created through pure corruption, as a true monster of chaos. This version is extremely powerful and serves as Havoc's right-hand enforcer. At the end of this expansion, Liu Kang attempts to save Bi-Han, placing him in a magical coma while searching for a way to undo the corruption. Even so, this storyline is so different from what the films are presenting that it's very unlikely to be used as a direct reference. With that in mind, all signs point to Mortal Kombat 2 2026 relying much more heavily on the classic game logic rather than the new era. The trailer clearly shows Noob Saibot fighting in the Netherrealm against Scorpion, Johnny Cage, and even Kano. That alone strongly suggests the film is following the traditional path. Bi-Han dies, his soul falls into the Netherrealm, and Quan Chi reshaped him into Noob Saibot, a darker, more aggressive version that remains completely faithful to his origins. Kano is also back. Kano has always been a character with a straightforward personality, but one that has remained extremely consistent throughout the first two game timelines. A violent, selfish, and ambitious mercenary, as well as the leader of the Black Dragon criminal organization. His goal has never changed: to profit by exploiting technology, magic, and the weaknesses of the realms. The first film captured this essence very well, even respecting a small detail from the original game. At first, Kano appears to be on the right side, fighting against the sorcerer Shang Tsung, only to later betray everyone and reveal his true nature. This duality was recreated in the movie, even though the way he obtained his laser eye was completely different from the games. The real surprise, however, comes in the trailer for Mortal Kombat 2 2026. Kano appears alive, even after being killed in the first film, and even more shocking, he seems to be fighting alongside Raiden's warriors. The footage shows conversations and even cooperative combat between Kano and Johnny Cage in the Netherrealm, something completely unexpected for anyone familiar with his game history. The most intriguing detail? Kano does not display the gray skin, dark eyes, or physical decay typically associated with corrupted warriors, the Revenants. This opens the door to a theory strongly grounded in the lore of the second timeline. In Mortal Kombat X, during Shinnok's invasion, several warriors who had died in the previous game returned as Revenants, undead, corrupted versions fully loyal to the Netherrealm. However, when Quan Chi was temporarily defeated, a crucial event took place. Raiden channeled his divine energy directly into the flesh pits at the exact moment Johnny Cage was about to die and have his soul transformed into a Revenant. This release of divine energy purified Johnny, and due to its reach, also freed Jax, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion from their corruption. In other words, the games clearly establish that Revenants can be freed, souls can return to their physical bodies, fallen warriors can come back without showing signs of corruption. Sub-Zero is the clearest example of this. He died as a cyborg in MK9, was transformed into a corrupted soul in the Netherrealm, and later restored to a human body, returning completely normal. Applying this logic to the film, the most coherent theory is the following. In some point in Mortal Kombat 2, there may be a confrontation involving resurrected fighters. A magical event, possibly caused by Raiden, could free Kano from any corruption, restoring both his body and his mind. This would explain why he returns without a Revenant appearance and even cooperates with Johnny Cage, not out of heroism, but because of a temporary alignment of interests. After all, if Shao Kahn plans to dominate everything, Kano might see an advantage in siding with the heroes, at least until he can profit again. And Raiden, even fully aware of Kano's nature, understands that against Shao Kahn, any help is welcome. In the end, Kano is still Kano, but the game lore provides all the foundation needed for his return in the film to make sense, while also leaving room for future twists. Will Liu Kang die? Liu Kang is, without a doubt, the most iconic character in the Mortal Kombat franchise, which makes his deaths and resurrections even more impactful. In the first two game timelines, he dies and returns, each time in a different way, always causing massive consequences for the story. In the original timeline, the most shocking moment is Liu Kang's brutal death in Deadly Alliance, when Shang Tsung kills him in a cowardly act. Liu Kang's soul is left wandering without a clear destination, which leads Raiden to commit one of the most extreme acts in the entire series. Desperate to reclaim his champion, the God of Thunder performs a forbidden ritual from an ancient civilization. The attempt fails, and Liu Kang returns as a murderous zombie, soulless, bound in chains, and behaving in a completely feral manner. Even in this grotesque form, he retains his combat abilities, making him extremely dangerous. This shows us yet another way to bring someone back to life, through ritual magic. In the second timeline, after Raiden alters events in an attempt to save the future, Liu Kang ends up accidentally killed during a confrontation with Raiden himself, and his soul is sent to the Netherrealm. There, he is transformed into a Revenant, an undead being controlled by Quan Chi's magic. Over time, Liu Kang becomes so powerful that he assumes the role of ruler of the Netherrealm after Shinnok's defeat in Mortal Kombat X. He becomes a complex antagonist, torn between the hero he once was and the corrupted entity he has become. As for Mortal Kombat 2 2026, several earlier leaks claimed that Liu Kang would die early in the film to demonstrate Shao Kahn's power. However, more recent rumors suggest that this death was removed after negative feedback during test screenings, where audiences reportedly felt the decision was excessive and unnecessary for the story's progression. As a result, all signs point to Liu Kang surviving the second film. Even so, when we look at the game lore, the most compelling idea would be to have Liu Kang die in the third film, mirroring the events of Deadly Alliance through an alliance between Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. This would pave the way for an epic return as zombie Liu Kang, a classic visual that many fans would love to see in live action. It would be the perfect way to honor the history of the game and elevate the film saga to an even more impactful level.